people who take massive war crime level dumps in public bathrooms but don't flush. Why? Used to work in a small office with 2 separate bathrooms, one on either side of our office space. Each was a tiny room with a toilet and a sink. There was a guy who without fail, about an hour or 2 after lunch, would decimate one crime scene level mess, with the odor as well, and that odor would waft outward to the nearest cubicle residents, who complained daily. He never flushed, and his excuse was that he'd read how toilets create an aerosol effect when they are flushed, which sends a cloud of mist into the air, and he refused to endure that because who knows who else used the toilet, which meant someone else got the honor of being sprayed with his leavings. Boss told him he had 2 choices, flush and spray Lysol generously, which truly does little to abate the stench, or use the facilities somewhere else. I'm sorry to say he chose to go to the nearest fast food place instead. To those valiant McDonald's employees, I'm so sorry. You did not deserve that. OMG, my office at my old work was directly across from the toilet. There were 6 of us in that building and it didn't take long to figure out who our terrorist shitter was because she came in at 8 and was in the bathroom by 8:30 without fail. At about 8:40 rolling stink clouds would permeate the complex, my office being hit the worst, but honestly it smelled so bad everyone was near to being poisoned on a daily basis. Paint peeled. Plants withered and died in the wake of the gas cloud. She ate a great deal of fried food and drank nothing but coffee and soda, at least while at work. I took to closing my office door at about 8:20 and took to rolling up a blanket to block the space between the bottom of the door, and it seemed to help at least keep the air breathable without the aid of gas masks. Other tricks we tried were putting a box of matches in each of the offices so we could strike them to cover up the stench, but those got taken away by management. I suppose they feared we'd burn the place down after being blinded by the stench, and dabbing Vicks under our noses. It was truly the worst shits I'd ever smelled, and I don't know why she couldn't retrain her bowels to erupt earlier before she left for work. Her husband probably threatened her with divorce if she didn't find someplace else to poop. Jesus. I worked at McDonald's for 2 years in high school, and what I could literally never understand was the people who threw their used TP in the fucking trash can next to the toilet. Like Jesus, it's called toilet paper. Infuriating. And then there were the people who decided to just shit on the seats. Full disclosure, I just mopped them bitches. I was not getting within 5 feet of someone else's shit for no measly $8 HR, while my managers got paid much more than that to count a till, so I took the mop and mopped the MF toilet, then disinfected it with spray. The mop was easy to clean though. I could just take it to the mop sink and spray that hoe off with an industrial hose and use food-grade disinfectant in a new mop bucket to soak and kill the germs. I did this once because I had no choice. I had to be somewhere early for work that was 1.5 hours away. So I'm driving this whole time, before sunrise, drinking coffee, a little nervous for this work thing, and now I have to shit bad. I find a random Denny's and run straight to the bathroom. There's only one stall. I lock the door and turn to find someone clogged the entire bowl with paper and ass gaskets. I proceed to push out this ridiculous soft serve mountain on top of the soggy paper platform. Like a McDonald's ice cream cone, but shit. The entire pile is above water. I had to hover and wipe just to avoid touching it. I had no choice but to top it off with a blanket of shitty paper. By the time I'm done, the summit is a good 3 inches above seat level. I could push that flusher 100 times and the whole structure wouldn't budge. Absolutely shameful. If anyone here is a Denny's employee in Northridge, CA, that had to deal with this, I'm sorry. As a janitor, I'd like to know the answer to this as well. Also, why poop in the urinal? Shitter was full. Sometimes there's shit on the outside of the toilet. For me, I get confused when there's no paper, and no way in hell they had a gusty. I'm guessing there are several names for it. I've always heard them referred to as a gusty though. You don't know it's a gusty without paper. They flushed once, the paper washed down but the log didn't. I believe it's called the fight or flight response. Lord knows I booked it out of there. No way I'm karate chopping that down the pipe. What if it's so large it doesn't flush? Pooped knife. Can't flush it if it's on the floor, now can I? Fair play. Well, having had the office by the bathrooms, I can probably tell you. Mostly they just don't know that it didn't go down. Epic filled bowls take more than one flush, and some people's mothers didn't raise them to check their flush. They just get up, hit the lever, hopefully wet their hands, and leave. Other people clog the toilet. In my case we had a plunger, but many bathrooms just don't for some ungodly reason. And even in our case, many people just leave because they don't want to deal with a clogged toilet. Again, I blame bad parenting, probably just didn't get enough hugs as a child. Oh, and there were a few people that put fucking paper towel in the toilet. Those are the cat stranglers, you really have to watch out for them. I only recently discovered our toilets at work are this way. In my defense, apparently the pipes are fucked up and it's a delayed reaction. I only found out recently because I was the one of a couple people in the office, and I was having a pretty bad stomach day. I knew for a fact that no one had gone in between my trips, and yet there was my shame in all its glory. It had come back for revenge, or to say hello, I'm not sure. It was not ready to depart this world, it was unfinished business. I did my deed, I watched it flush. The water filled back up, it was clean. Then, I waited. Sure enough, it came slinking back out like a guilty dog after eating trash. I flushed twice for number 2 now. That seems to do the trick. Oh, and there were a few people that put fucking paper towel in the toilet. Those are the cat stranglers, you really have to watch out for them. Is this a common thing? I worked somewhere where there was a mystery person who kept putting entire rolls of TP in the toilet. It happened roughly once a month and we had to call the plumbers sometimes because it clogged so badly. Is this just standard disgruntled employee fuckery? Edited to add, it wasn't a toilet paper pillow for poo situation. This person was putting the entire toilet paper roll, cardboard tube and all, into the toilet, without anything else added. I worked in a place where several times a week, someone would take a shit that looked like someone set off a poop bomb. Like, the toilet was just the place where it happened, and not in any way containing it. We all strongly suspected the 350-pound guy in our department, but he was super nice so no one ever said anything. Some people like to show off. If they wanted to show off then they should have just put it in a Ziploc bag and passed it around the RBs. Big dick energy. What about the people that have sticky poop where no matter how many times you flush it doesn't dislodge and you have to use another bowl? I imagine the dude doing the walk of shame to another stall to continue on his path of toilet destruction. Plugging it up would be worse, let's let it soak for a while then try. I dealt with a clogged toilet by waiting 8 hours and flushing again because I was too lazy to plunge it. It worked but my family was not so happy about it. Probably the most valid question I've come across on this page yet. Working in construction and seeing some of these toilets, I need to know, inquiring minds need to know. One time I was in a really crowded airport bathroom and had to pee after this long flight. I ran into the bathroom and every stall had a long line coming out of it except for one stall. I took my chances and chose the stall without a line. There was a shit mess everywhere. I really had to pee so I aimed where the toilet was hiding underneath all the poop. As I'm peeing a line starts to form outside the stall because the next people in line now think the toilet is usable. I start freaking out because they are going to think I'm the one who left all the poop. I finished peeing, opened the door and shouted I didn't do that. It was like that when I got here. I heard the next guy in line start swearing when he saw what was in the stall. I walked away with the idea that at least it's an airport states away from where I live and hopefully nobody will ever recognize me. Very relieved to see that you're a dude. At first was thinking female, and was horrified at the thought of hovering over that and the potential splashback. When my mom was a custodian, she once found a douche in the toilet that she literally had to cut into pieces with a knife in order to get it to flush. It was horrifying. Forgot my poop knife. We've all been there. This is the story about my war crime shit. I was pooping in a stall at Union Station in Los Angeles. It was one of those legs to the wall, I can feel the separate layers within my intestines all being vacated type shits. It was totally thorough. I'm in a stall near the entrance to the public restroom. I can hear the footsteps and the comments of everyone as they enter. A boy and his father walk in, it smells like poopy and here daddy or something along those lines. A few moments later a old voice yells from a stall to my left, "Goddamn. Prison rules, motherfucker, give us a courtesy flush on that shit." At this point I'm trying not to laugh. This shit has been a non-stop experience. My anus is open and I'm like a soft serve ice cream machine down there, man. When it's time to wipe I barely have enough room to drop in the TP. I left and never look back. If you have to stand up to finish, you know it's of biblical proportion. Sometimes the toilet doesn't flush. It's not like I can take it back out. I stopped at a rest stop and had to go. It could not wait. 6/7 toilets were clogged with multiple shits and there had shit all over the seat, so I used the only toilet remaining to take a massive bin on a road trip eating fast food for 3 days shit. It wasn't until I had wiped and stood up that I realized there was no way to flush it. The toilet had been broken the whole time. It was clear to me that my mountain of shame, piled some distance out of the water, would remain present for the next visitor. Embarrassed, I hastily washed my hands and left the scene of the crime, hoping nobody would notice, but as I turned the corner I watched as someone entered from the other side, opened the stall I was just in, and shouted, "Oh, what fucking gross." I couldn't disagree, but I wasn't about to stick around to explain things. I hopped in my car and never looked back. C'est la guerre.